Some people say that talk is cheap. Talk, 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 talk. It's easy, like it's simple, it's cheap. Sometimes people talk when they are not expected to talk. Talk is cheap, but advice will cost you something, or advice should cost you something. You find a lot of people looking for free advice all around, in fact, all across the world. Individuals just want everything done for them. They want cheap advice. They want reviews done for free. The internet has made a lot of these things very easy. People go online, they get advice from Google. Of course, it's one thing to get advice. Even AI right now, AI is getting to the point where it's just like a Canadian company in Canada, I think. They are using artificial intelligence to be able to drive, the growth of immigrants moving to Canada and all that. So the world is really changing. In fact, the world has changed. Things are changing daily. Strategies coming up. Summarily, things are changing. So basically, some thoughts have been going through my mind, and I just felt that I should share some of them. And one of the things I want to say today basically has to do with five reasons why people do not get an advisory board. Just 5 reasons. 5 reasons. One of the reasons, which is very obvious, is they don't even know what an advisory board is. I'm not necessarily talking about the public limited companies or quoted companies. Quoted companies are a whole lot more structured. If you want to do an internship on the board, I would even advise you get a publicly listed company, and try and see if you can run an internship for them, so that you can witness the dynamism and the dynamics first class and first hand. So that's one of the things that you can. That's one of the things that you can actually do. So you can get to a board if you have the opportunity. Then you see first class what actually goes on. So people don't necessarily understand when you say advisory board. Now people are like, what are these people even talking about again? What are they talking about? I advise myself. All the advice I get it from myself, and my business is doing excellently well. You are playing a limited liability game as a sole proprietor, because you are the king of kings of your business. I don't know how that works, and I don't know how much longer that would actually work for you. If you are thinking of a business that is going to outlive you, you definitely need the inclusion of several other persons that are playing different roles within that company, and you should be able to have a budget that at least can meet the minimum requirements of what those individuals might be looking for. Even aside that, there are individuals that might want to play that particular role for you free of charge. They may not necessarily, they just collect a token for sitting allowance, maybe transportation, logistics, and that's it. But if you really want to get people committed to the cost of your business and your company, then you must be willing to pay. That leads me to the number 2 of this. The first thing I talked about is people don't have an understanding of what an advisory board is. I'm going to do another content that will explain what an advisory board does, so that it's easy for people to comprehend. When you get the word advisory board, or independent directors, it should strike a chord in you, and you should begin to see value, not fear. So 1, people don't necessarily know what it is. 2, people do not want to pay for advice. Then 3, people do not understand their roles. People don't understand their roles. What do I mean by that? If you are the owner of the company, in terms of the shareholding structure of that particular company, you are a shareholder. In terms of ownership, the company belongs to you. When you bring on board advisory board members, it's tenure-based. They are not coming there to come and take away the shares that you own in the company. They don't want to take away the ownership from you. They are not interested in the management of the company. They are just there so that you can you can see differently. You can get another perspective. So that's one of the reasons why you need to understand your role as a business owner in terms of shareholding. You need to understand your role as a director of a company. A director meaning that you are on the incorporation documents as a director. You are a part of the management, the core management team of that particular company. Then when you are talking about an advisory board, it's totally different. They are on the external. They are not they are not supposed to. They can influence what goes on in the company, but they don't have that management decision. All they do at the end of the day is actually advisory. Then number 3 is people don't see the value. That flows from number 1, and it also flows from number 2. If you don't know what an advisory board is, and if you cannot distinguish between the role of an advisory board and a director and a shareholder, if you cannot make that journey through all of these 3 concepts or individuals that play a certain role within the company, definitely I don't expect you to be able to see value. I don't expect you to be able to see value. So a lot of people cannot see the value. Why? Because they may be surrounding themselves with individuals that are just okay having a shop, open one business somewhere, employ staff, and that's it. I just feel that for many companies, it's important to have a structure of advisory, and it's very valuable. Once in a while, I subject myself to individuals that they turn up a lot of things with me. They're like, this person, this is what is in vogue. You are still doing X, Y, Z. You can actually do A, B, C so that you can scale. I have those kind of individuals. It's not like on a very formal setting, but those individuals are there. If you cannot pay for the formalized way of having some of these services, for your company, you can just be able to have like a mastermind. You have a mastermind, a group of persons, you brainstorm, it's still the same functionality. You might not just be calling them an advisory board. So when people cannot see the value, definitely they would not be able to engage. So that for sure is one of the reasons why people might not necessarily want an advisory board. They don't really know anything about it. Then another thing I would want to say is people do not know how to constitute an advisory board. If you don't understand number 1, number 2, and number 3, definitely you can't even get a hold on this particular 4th point that I'm actually trying to make. They don't know how to constitute a board. In future, and maybe 4 or 5 videos from now, we might be dealing in detail with what it takes to actually constitute an advisory board. What are the legal requirements? Is there anything that the CAMA, for example, in Nigeria, is there anything that the Companies and Allied Matters Act actually says around constituting an advisory board? Are those things within our law? So we'll be dealing with some of those things so that we can have a broad mindset as to how some of these things work. How do you constitute a team? That's all you need to think about, really, teamwork. How do you bring individuals from different backgrounds together? When I'm thinking of constituting an advisory board, I'm not for a business. I'm not talking about something that maybe you might necessarily have to go and do a lot of prayer and fasting for. No, that's not the point I'm trying to make. What I'm talking about principally has to do with bringing core skilled individuals together, individuals that have different skill sets in different functionalities within a business that can drive the growth of that business, increase profitability for shareholders, and also create a structure-based company. That's what I'm talking about. So if, for example, you're setting up an advisory board for a construction company, I don't expect you to bring in an entertainer, somebody who is an entertainer, for example, like to have Burna Boy, for example, on your construction company advisory board. Is he coming to sing? Except there's something entirely different. There's an entirely different skill set that Burna Boy has, apart from making music. He's not coming to make music on your board, for example. I'm just giving that illustration. He might be useful maybe in an entertainment company. You are thinking of scaling, how a company that is maybe managing artists, and you are thinking about, okay, we want one of these artists to be able to win the Grammy. Burna Boy has won the Grammy. He understands the journey from zero to Grammy. So if you bring Burna Boy on a company that manages artists, for example, as an advisory board member, trust me, he's going to be dishing out value per second value, because that is his area, that's what he does. So when you are looking at your company, for example, you are a construction company, you need to be thinking of what are the elements or the components of skill sets that should come together that can drive this company beyond the in-house skills that already exist. So that's the point that I'm actually trying to make. You must understand how to constitute them. Then number five, privacy issues. These issues are bound with private limited companies. A whole lot. They feel that, oh, I have this company, I don't want my business in other people's business. For me, it's a very myopic reason, but shockingly, a lot of people have these privacy-related reasons. And it may stem also from trust issues. Maybe they've tried to bring some people close to their business, they got almost swindled. But I'm not talking about management, I'm talking about advice. You have to always check out the difference between much of all these concepts. I'm talking about people who are coming just to advise you, and you're not duty bound to even take that advice. But let it be on the record in the minutes book of the company that Mr. Maxwell provided this advice, Mrs. Cindy provided this advice, Engineer Kola provided this advice, Savio Chukwemeka, made his own views, also known. Al Hassan, the strategist, also brought his own advice to the table. That's the point I'm just making. Let your love for privacy or your love for a sole proprietorship mindset, let that not determine, let that not be the reason why you don't see the value that an advisory board can actually bring. So at the end of the day, the health of the company is extremely important. Every party to a company, the managers, the shareholders, the directors, the advisory board members, everybody has to be a combined effort. Because if the company goes down, everybody actually goes down. If the company succeeds, everybody succeeds at the end of the day. So it's important for people to see the reasons why they must have an advisory board. But I've just noted some of the reasons why people do not. From this, you can be able to tell some of the reasons why you should. And I've mentioned that also in my explanations. So I believe that in a couple of contents from now, I'll be dealing with why you need an advisory board. Why do you need an advisory board? It's very important. It's very key. It's going to be the difference from, it's actually going to tell whether you make progress in 2023 or in 2021. It's going to tell how much progress you would make. How much progress are you willing to make between now and the future? So it's key, it's important. I hope that for those of you who have not taken this quite seriously, this video would form, a motivation for you to at least give this an opportunity, or just give this a chance. Give this a chance and let's see how it works for your organization. And for those of you out there as well listening who already have this kind of a structure, please, I'll be excited to know how you are putting this structure into place. What are the challenges that you are facing? And I'm also happy to create content around the things that you can actually do within a board scenario and how you can optimize that for the growth of your company.